Trick Daddy would rather ban and destroy, or I should say, quote unquote, ban and destroy his own people before he does it against white supremacy. And, regardless of the situation with Meek Mill, I understand Meek Mill has a new album coming out and he is on a promo tour with all these radio stations and stuff like that. But when I saw this particular response from Meek Mill, I had to talk about it because this is something that is prevalent. Again, as I always talked about, mental health within the quote unquote black community, right? Where we have so many issues within our own selves that we don't even know exactly what kind of issues that we have because they haven't been properly diagnosed, right? Cognitive dissonance, Stockholm syndrome, PTSD, post-traumatic slavery disorder, right? So, and that's just the start of the mental, the mental disorders that we have that I consider the common ones. And we have a whole bunch of other ones that are misdiagnosed or not diagnosed at all, right? But this particular quote unquote beef between Meek Mill and Trick Daddy, is prevalent it's prevalent in the hip hop community where rappers always like to claim a city, right? They always say, this is my city, right? They always like to claim a city, or they always want to just say, well, you can't come to my city. When in fact, that's a flat out lie. No rappers own or control anything. No rappers understand the fundamentals of how to buy, rent, or lease a politician, right? If you study Claude Anderson and Powernomics, you would understand how to buy, rent, or lease a politician to empower ourselves, which is black empowerment, basically. Right? None of these rappers can name their own lawmakers, their state legislators. They can't name their city commissioners. They don't contribute to anything regarding their campaign. So miss me with the whole, this is my city and stuff like that. You guys don't own or control. Black people collectively as a group, we don't own or control anything. You can live in a predominantly black neighborhood like I do in Miami Gardens. We have new retail shops in our community that are non-black owned. Outside forces coming into the community, getting tax breaks, making sure that these businesses are coming into place, having non-black workers in the community, etc., right? So again, this is a complete misnomer about this is my city, stay out of my city, you're a banned from my city. You black people, when I mean you, I'm talking about the rappers, but specifically black people collectively as a group. And I say black, as just a common phrase, even though technically we are not black, because I'm not going to get into the whole, the whole thing with that. But particularly black people, we don't own or control anything. If you're classified as black, we don't own or control anything in all 9 areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And, the thing about these rappers, and I've talked about this in the past before, here's the thing. You guys don't even understand how the system works, right? I mean, the Billboard charts, for example, the people who own and control the Billboard charts, right? You should be thanking one guy in particular. That's this guy right here, Jerry Wexler. And I've talked about this countless of times. If it wasn't for him, there will be no hip hop / R&B charting system. He is the one that developed that. He is the one that created the phrase rhythm and blues. Before that, it was called race records. Race records. That's how black music or Negro music back in the Jim Crow era days, that's how, black music was called. It was called race records. And then this guy rephrased it to rhythm and blues, and then it charted the charting system of R&B / hip hop, and that will always be synonymous, was incepted for the charting system in 1999. So y'all should be thanking this guy, but y'all don't understand how it works. The Billboard charting system, the people who own and control the charting system, right? They understand that hip hop is a, multi-billion-dollar industry, but they are the last people to care about hip hop and its culture. They could care less. And I've showed the proof that countless of times where, top ranking and CEOs of music record labels could care less about hip hop. Matter of fact, they despise hip hop. They want it to fail, right? Which is why so many of these rappers go independent, et cetera, et cetera. But the thing about this, going back to this Meek Mill and Trick Daddy situation. So, this so-called beef with Trick Daddy and Meek Mill, it started based off this article that I read. It started because Meek Mill was on an interview, and I'll read a part of the paragraph where they quote what Meek Mill says. It says, during a recent interview with Ebro on Hot 97, Meek mistakenly took credit for Miami steez and opulent culture. When you see people rolling their scullies up, when you see people with diamond chains, everybody was wearing Cuban links. When you see people on yachts in Miami now, on Instagram, that come from the influence of Meek Mill, the Dream Chasers, he said. So, Trick Daddy caught feelings. He felt some type of way about that and responded on social media. And they have the quotes of what Trick Daddy said. Quote, first of all, you need to know one motherfucking thing. Miami niggas are not followers, not mini-me's and me-toos, he said. We trendsetters. We cocaine selling, machine gun toting, tooting, shooting. I can't even read this ignorant crap. This is so retarded. And I actually saw that particular clip on Instagram. I believe this guy looks very sickly. He looks very unhealthy, man. I just, time is ticking, bro. They got to change your health, do a whole full body detox, become a vegan or something, because you look really unhealthy, man. Seriously, like real talk. But so that was Trick Daddy's response, and then I'm gonna play the video of Meek Mill talking about, well, if I'm banned from Miami, how come you can't ban George Zimmerman? So here is the clip, family.
I don't get nothing but love. I went to Miami that same day.
Yeah.
I can't be banned from no city. I can't be banned. I walk the earth like a man. It's foolishness, man. Yeah. Zimmerman is not banned from Florida. How can Meek Mill be banned from Florida?
Yeah, so he said Zimmerman is not banned from Florida. How can Meek Mill be banned from Florida, right? And that was a straight euthanized reply from Meek Mill. Okay? Straight ether. And there's no way you can respond because that's historically like that since day one. You are willing to attack your own kind, but you don't want to attack the system. You don't want to attack a straight up white supremacist like George Zimmerman. Right? You don't want to attack any of these damn suspected race soldiers that are killing unarmed black men, women, and children left and right on a daily basis. Right? You don't want to do none of that stuff. Easy targets. So when you have someone like this, a Trick Daddy who has, this guy has been around for like 30 something years as far as on the, hip hop scene in Florida. And his style has not changed. He's what he replied. He says we are cocaine selling, rootin' tootin', whatever the hell he was talking about, just pure ignorance. Right? He's still on that kind of situation when in fact that, that way of thinking obviously is toxic and suicide. It's that logic that Trick Daddy displayed in that retort is just suicidal thinking. He already looks sickly as it is. And the thing is, again, that was a great reply by Meek Mill. And this goes along with all of these so-called pro-blacks who are quick to attack your fellow brother, right? Your own black brother for any insignificant reason, especially on social media. You're quick to attack that person, but not the very same people who oppress you, not the people who own and control the resources that you use, right? The dominant white society. You're not willing to attack them whatsoever, right? You're not on the front lines trying to go against the actual system that is oppressing you, in which you probably don't even know it's oppressing you at all. You probably think you're benefiting from it, right? And that's exactly how us black people are thinking, just like a trick daddy. That's very common, right? In that particular situation. So, I mean, that was a great retort by Meek Mill. I just definitely got to give him props for that. George Zimmerman, I've always talked about George Zimmerman still breathing, right? Dylan Roof still breathing, people still want to forgive him, crying, talk about they forgive him even though he's in jail. He should be dead. George Zimmerman should be dead. Okay? One is walking free, one is in jail, still free. The point is they're both breathing. But all our animosity is towards against us. All of our animosity, we say something about somebody's city, about we influences something, and we don't own or control a damn thing. Talking about you run a city when you can't even run credit. Your credit is subprime, Trick Daddy. Your credit is below 500. You will not get approved for anything because you don't own or control anything. You don't know your state legislator. You don't contribute to any campaigns of these politicians. Black people don't understand the basic of politics. It's buy, renting, or leasing a politician. That's how other groups, like the Jewish community, like the Asian community. You notice how the Asian community, for example, they have the lowest voter turnout. But they own and control all of their businesses. How does that work? Right? And they have their own damn cities, their own blocks. But that whole Black Wall Street mentality, because of these mental disorders that we have for systemic oppression, systemic racism, our social engineering has completely altered our way of thinking. So that Black Wall Street terminology is far gone right now. We won't have it. Our dollars don't circulate in our so-called own community. It bounces right out immediately because we don't own or control our own businesses, our own resources where we live, in our own communities where we live. All right. Again, none of these rappers can name their own state lawmakers or legislators, their city councilmen, their city managers, the mayors, none of them. They don't understand how politics works, but they say they run a city when they can't run credit. Y'all can't even take out a damn loan for $100 at the check cashing store. Okay? And that's real talk. That's real talk. And, that's the thing about it. With these rappers, I saw another rapper who was on Instagram. I think his name was Raylo. He talked about that he bought he bought a $400,000 Lamborghini and still is boasting about living in the projects. That is another issue with Stockholm Syndrome. Brother, you just spent over $400,000 on a car company that don't give a rat's ass about you. All right? And you talking about you still living in the hood. Now, I could care less about, how he deals with his money, but that's just a prime example of this culture that we live in. Okay? Those kind of people, you just have to separate from. Again, I call myself the black separatist. the Trick Daddies of the world, the Rails of the world, you have to separate from those kind of people, right? In addition to the dominant white society, the very same people who oppress us. It's that simple. You just got to separate because they are completely too far gone. You know, I always talk about the black family structure, and, you know, the majority, if not, I'd say 95% of these rappers, they come from single parent homes, single mothers. And so the behavior manifests itself as they mature into an adult, right? And they never evolve past that because of their upbringing. Epigenetics is what I always talk about, right? And the article I talked about last week about how Alzheimer's, right, is one of the leading diseases in the black community because of racism, systemic oppression, et cetera, right? But your surroundings, your upbringing is exactly how you evolve as a person, right? That's a reflection of how you evolve and get older or mature into an adult. And it shows, especially how these rappers are acting right now. It's just, you know, it is what it is, right? But, you know, at the end of the day, I don't listen to Meek Mill's music or Trick Daddy's music. I just saw the headline on my Instagram feed and I was like, okay, I got to talk about this. So I am talking about it, but I don't care about that music. But the point of this topic here is the fact that it's very prevalent that we attack our own instead of attacking the system, attacking the very same people who oppress us. We rather attack our own and claim we run something when we can't even run credit. We can't even take out a loan. We can't even build credit. Okay? All right? We don't even run our own damn household. But yet you talk about you run a city. You can't name one city council, one state legislator. None of y'all can. Straight up. So anyway, family, those are my thoughts on that, on this particular situation with Meek Mill and Trick Daddy. Meek Mill just did a complete euthanize of Trick Daddy, and there's no way he can respond to that. He just might as well just go back, go into his corner, get detox. Hopefully, you know, his health gets better because he clearly looks like he's very sickly and just tries to evolve as a person. You know what I'm saying? That's my suggestion right there. Just try to evolve and just shut your mouth and stop going on social media and embarrassing yourself. Talking about you running a damn city. All right. So anyway, family, those are my thoughts on that. Leave your comments down below in the comments section, family. Make sure you follow me on social media at The Black Separatist on Instagram and Twitter. Both links will be down below in the description. If you want to go ahead and send me something via mail, my P.O Box is also down below in the description. And my email, if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, etc., any future topics you want me to talk about, GMOGmedia@gmail.com. That is also down below in the description. Until next time, family, Chauncey, a.k.a. The Black Separatist, signing out. Peace.